Hello beautiful people, this is Dawn, your tarot teacher here. Join me now as we step into the card of the World. The World card is the culmination of the Fool's journey. It represents the completion of a great cycle of evolution, where the soul reaches cosmic consciousness and mastery of the dance of life. This is the archetype of the perfected human, the being who is fully awakened to their eternal nature, who has integrated all archetypes and who now lives in unity rather than separation. Throughout the Major Arcana, we follow the path of the Fool. We begin as the Fool, descending into the denser realms of physical existence, learning the lessons of matter, identity, emotion, power, and limitation. As the journey unfolds, a deeper initiation begins. This shift becomes clear at the Hermit card, where the path turns inward. Attention moves from the outer world to the inner world, and the soul begins the ascent. Through reflection, discipline, sacrifice, awakening, and transformation, consciousness is elevated step by step. At Key 21, the World, the journey reaches its culmination. This card represents the transformation of the whole being. Cosmic consciousness means we no longer live from the ego. We are no longer under the illusion of separation. We realize unity consciousness, the understanding that life, spirit, and matter are one. The World is the true self revealed. It is the transformed being through which the forces of creation flow freely into manifestation. Here we know that we are eternal beings living in a physical body. This is the state that many traditions call nirvana, not escape from life, but full participation in the spiral dance of creation. At this stage, we remember who we were in the beginning. We recognize the work that has been done, and we become aware of the work that is still to come. A cycle is complete, and a new cycle is ready to begin. In the next turn of the Fool's journey, the path is no longer about discovering our purpose. It is about fulfilling it. The World card is number 21 in the Major Arcana. 21 is the mirror of 12, linking this card to the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man shows the initiate suspended in what is depicted as the World Tree or the Tree of Life, learning surrender and inner illumination. The figure in the World card shows the initiate is now liberated, dancing freely within the cosmic wreath. Together, they form a complete picture. Stillness becomes motion, and motion becomes mastery. The number 21 also contains the numbers 2 and 1. 2 is the High Priestess, the subconscious realm, and 1 is the Magician, the conscious will. When these are united, manifestation becomes possible. 2 and 1 also makes 3, the number of the Empress, the archetype of creation made visible. This shows that the world is the point where inner knowledge becomes outer reality. The figure in the World card is surrounded by an ellipse, which represents the number 0. 0 is the Fool card, the 0-point field of unlimited potential. This shows that completion is also a portal. Every ending is the gateway to a new beginning. 21 therefore represents victory achieved after the long struggle of the hero's journey. A major cycle is complete, and the soul stands ready to enter the next level of evolution. In Kabbalah and the Tree of Life, the World card is path 32 and connects Yesod, the sphere of foundation, to Malkut, the sphere of the kingdom. It represents the final stage of manifestation, total fulfillment, and the integration of all elemental forces within the material 3D realm. It is the culmination of the Fool's journey. It also represents the culmination of the 4 worlds, Absolute, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, all coming together into tangible existence. The Hebrew letter associated with this card is Tav or Tau, and is the 22nd and last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It represents the end of a spiritual journey, the integration of experiences, and is the seal of truth. This letter symbolizes truth, cosmic awareness, and the merging of opposites. The Fool now balances polarities along the middle path. Now let's explore the imagery of this card. In the World card, we see a naked figure dancing inside a wreath of victory. The figure is balanced on one foot, centered and poised. This is the dance of life. The lesson here is that action should move with life, not against it. When we are aligned with the greater rhythm, life becomes a dance rather than a struggle. The figure holds a wand in each hand. These wands symbolize the fire of creation. They are double terminated, like antennae, showing the ability to receive and transmit energy. They also represent the two outer pillars on the tree of life. The dancer has reconciled these opposites and now walks the middle path. This is a state of balance where the initiate becomes the conductor of energy rather than at the mercy of it. Around the figure is the victory wreath. This symbolizes accomplishment, completion, and mastery. It is also a cosmic womb, a portal preparing the soul for rebirth into a higher level of consciousness. The purple scarf represents the rhythm of life. Purple is the colour associated with the Wheel of Fortune, linking this card to the cycles of destiny. In the esoteric tradition, the scarf also hides that the figure is both male and female. This represents the principle of gender united in one form. In Greek mythology, Hermaphroditus was the child of Hermes and Aphrodite, the magician and the high priestess. This shows the merging of conscious and subconscious power. Opposites are reconciled and separation is gone. On the corners of the card are the four holy living creatures, also seen on the Wheel of Fortune card. They represent earth, air, fire and water. They also represent the four tools on the magician's table, which are the forces we learn to master earlier in the journey. They also represent the four fixed signs of the zodiac: Taurus, the bull; Leo, the lion; Scorpio, the eagle; and Aquarius, the human figure. These symbols frequently appear in tarot imagery and are often associated with stability, endurance, and the foundational energies of the zodiac. In the Wheel of Fortune, the four holy living creatures are traditionally depicted reading from the Book of Wisdom. This symbolism represents their connection to knowledge, the cycles of fate, and the deeper workings of the universe. Here in the World card, they face forward. This forward-facing position suggests that the initiate has achieved a state of harmony and integration, allowing them to transcend the boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms. The initiate is no longer restricted to just one domain. Rather, they possess the ability to move freely between both worlds. This reflects the completion of a journey or cycle and the attainment of a balanced, holistic perspective. The red ribbons on the wreath form the shape of the lemniscate, the infinity symbol. This represents eternal life, eternal consciousness, and the endless cycle of becoming. The esoteric title of this card is The Great One of the Night of Time. This name reflects the culmination of a journey, the merging of conscious and subconscious forces, and the harmony achieved by transcending boundaries. The reference to Night of Time suggests a state beyond ordinary time, where the initiate moves freely between realms, embodying wisdom and mastery over both physical and spiritual planes. The element of this card is Earth, or the world of course, and its planetary ruler is Saturn. Saturn represents limitation, discipline, structure, and time. It teaches hard lessons so that the soul becomes strong enough to hold greater power. The world, therefore, represents the stable, mature form of the true self, not potential, but realised potential. Saturn is also linked to the 10th house of career, status, and mastery in the world, and is linked to Aquarius and the 11th house of community, humanity, and the collective future. This shows that the completion of the journey is not only personal, but it prepares us to serve the world. The strengths of the World card are manifestation, self-actualization, liberation, expansion, completion, victory, wholeness, and embodiment of the true self. This is the state where the great work is crystallized. All 22 archetypes are integrated into one being. Even this card has its shadow. The shadow side of the world is self-limitation, emptiness after achievement, loss of meaning, lack of empathy, depression after completion. When a cycle ends, the ego can feel lost. The lesson is to recognize that completion is not the end, it is the beginning of the next spiral. In the esoteric teachings, each archetype energizes the structure of the body at an atomic level. Working consciously with the 22 archetypes builds the multidimensional self. This structure is important because when we finish this incarnation and go through the gates of death into our next incarnation, we take that structure with us. The world represents the point where the higher self can fully express through the physical form. Creation and manifestation become natural because the inner and outer world are no longer divided. Service to the world becomes the greatest joy. The initiate teaches by example. This state is sometimes called ipsissimus, the highest level of mastery, where the individual becomes a living expression of the universal will. The Fool's Journey can be understood in 3 movements: involution, the descent into matter. We then reach the gate of initiation, which is the turning inward, and then evolution, the ascent into awakened consciousness. The lesson of this card is that the work is not only personal, but we then reach a collective consciousness and we rise to a higher octave. The world teaches that a new and better world begins when the individual becomes whole. And with a little inspiration from T.S. Eliot, I will end this lesson by saying, and so, at the end of all our journeying, we arrive at the beginning and to know the place for the first time. After completing a significant journey of self-discovery, we return to where we started, but with a new perspective and deeper understanding. The culmination of personal and spiritual growth leads us back to our origins, yet now we perceive them in a completely fresh and enlightened way. Thank you all for being with me on this learning journey. I hope it has served you well. And it doesn't have to end here. In fact, this moment marks not a conclusion, but the threshold of a new beginning. Just as the Fool's Journey comes full circle, we return to the start, yet now with insight, purpose, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Each cycle of learning equips us with greater wisdom, allowing us to approach familiar paths with fresh eyes and a renewed heart. So as we embark once more from the beginning, let us do so with the knowledge that true fulfillment arises not just from reaching the end, but from embracing each new step along the way.